viewers, welcome back to my channel Stepping Stone Tutorials. Viewers, we are back with another brand new chapter of Class 10 Science. The chapter is Life Processes. So viewers, so far we have studied that respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen. However, respiration can take place in the absence of oxygen also, but it is very rare. Now, based on this, we have two types of respiration, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So, aerobic respiration is the type of respiration which takes place in the presence of oxygen. In aerobic respiration, the glucose food is completely broken down into carbon dioxide and water by oxidation. And here considerable amount of ATP molecules is produced. We have already discussed about ATP and ADP in my last video. You can go back and check my earlier video about the discussion on ATP and ADP for better understanding. Now, this breaking down of food or glucose during aerobic respiration can be represented as follows. Here you can see that in aerobic respiration, one molecule of glucose produces 38 energy-rich ATP molecules. Now this takes place in the mitochondria of cells. So mitochondria are the sites of aerobic respiration in the cells. Now thus the breakdown of pyruvate to give carbon dioxide, water and energy takes place in the mitochondria. So first glucose converts into pyruvate. This happens in the cytoplasm, and from pyruvate energy 38 ATP molecules are produced. This takes place in the mitochondria of the cells. So hence mitochondria are also called the sites of energy production. Anaerobic respiration is the type of respiration which takes place without the use of oxygen. The microscopic organisms like yeast and some bacteria obtain energy by anaerobic respiration, which is also called fermentation. So the breaking down of glucose or food during aerobic respiration carried out by yeast can be represented as follows. So here you can see glucose finally breaks down to produce 2 ATP molecules. Now, we human beings also obtain energy by anaerobic respiration sometimes. Mostly we use aerobic respiration, right? But anaerobic respiration can sometimes take place in our muscles. For example, anaerobic respiration takes place in our muscles during vigorous physical exercise, when oxygen gets used up faster in the muscle cells that can be supplied by the blood. When anaerobic respiration takes place in human muscles, then glucose is converted into lactic acid with the release of small amount of energy. The equation is as follows. So here you can see that glucose finally breaks down to form 2 ATP molecules, and also lactic acid is formed. So this sudden buildup of lactic acid in our muscles during vigorous physical activity can cause cramps in our muscles. So during heavy physical exercise, most of the energy in our muscles is produced by aerobic respiration. Now anaerobic respiration in muscles provides only some extra energy which is needed under the conditions of heavy physical activity, like running very fast or running for a very long time. The anaerobic respiration by muscles brings about some partial breakdown of glucose to form lactic acid. This lactic acid accumulates in the muscles, and hence we get muscle cramps in such conditions. So we can get relief from cramps in muscles caused by heavy exercise by taking a hot water bath or a massage, because it improves the circulation of blood in the muscles, and thus due to improved blood flow, the supply of oxygen to the muscle increases. And this oxygen breaks down the lactic acid accumulation in the muscles into carbon dioxide and water, and hence gives us relief from cramp. Now, here are few differences between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. You can pause the video and note them down. So you can see that in aerobic respiration, it takes place in the presence of oxygen, whereas anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. Now, what happens in aerobic respiration? Complete oxidation of food or glucose takes place in aerobic respiration, while in anaerobic respiration, glucose molecules is incompletely oxidized. So in aerobic respiration, we have seen that apart from ATP or energy molecules, carbon dioxide and water are produced as byproducts, where in anaerobic respiration, end products are ethyl alcohol or lactic acid and carbon dioxide. In aerobic respiration, lot of energy is liberated, 38 ATP molecules, whereas anaerobic respiration, only 2 ATP molecules are released. Aerobic respiration takes place in plants and animal cells, whereas anaerobic respiration takes place in bacteria and some microorganisms and in human muscle cells. The last difference is the equation. Respiratory system in humans. In human beings, many organs takes part in the process of respiration. The main organs of the human respiratory system are nose, nasal passage or nasal cavity, trachea, bronchi, lungs, diaphragm and alveoli. Human respiratory system begins from the nose. The air for respiration is drawn through the nostrils present in the nose. This air then goes into the nasal passage. When air passes through the nasal passage, then it is filtered with the help of mucus and nasal hair present in the nostrils. Then this filtered air passes through a pipe-like structure called trachea. So you can see here trachea. Just a moment. So air passes through the nostrils and then it reaches the trachea. So you can see that trachea has ring-like structures in it. So this trachea does not collapse even when there is no air in it because it is supported by these rings. The upper end of the trachea has a voice box called larynx. So here is the larynx, and the lower end divides into 2 bronchi. So these are the 2 bronchi. Each bronchus divides in the lungs to form large number of still smaller tubes called bronchioles. The air then flows to the pouch-like sacs at the end of each bronchioles called alveoli. And it is at the alveoli that gaseous exchange takes place. Now the question arises how gaseous exchange takes place in the alveoli of human lungs. When we breathe in air, the air passes and reaches the alveoli of the lungs, and hence the alveoli gets completely filled with air containing oxygen. Now the alveoli are surrounded by very thin blood vessels called capillaries carrying blood in them. You can refer to the second diagram. You can see here that alveoli are surrounded by blood capillaries. Now what happens? Since the alveoli is filled with oxygen, so it has high concentration of oxygen, whereas the blood capillary has low concentration of oxygen. Now, since concentration of oxygen is higher in the alveoli, here it is higher, so oxygen diffuses from the alveolus into the blood capillary. This oxygen is carried by the blood to all the parts of the body. As the blood passes through the tissues of the body, the oxygen present in it diffuses into the cells due to its high concentration of the blood in the blood. This oxygen combines with the digested food present in the cells to release energy. Now carbon dioxide gas is produced as a waste product during respiration in the cells of the body tissues. This carbon dioxide diffuses into the blood due to the higher concentration in body tissues. Now the blood carries the carbon dioxide back to the lungs, where it diffuses into the alveoli. Now when we breathe out, then the carbon dioxide passes back from the alveoli into the bronchioles, into the bronchi, and back through our nose into the atmosphere. Now let us have a look at this flow diagram for better understanding of respiration process in humans. Now we have seen that when we breathe in, our lungs are filled with oxygen, and the alveoli present in the lungs have high concentration of oxygen at this point. There are blood capillaries surrounding the alveoli, and the oxygen concentration in the blood capillaries is low. Hence, diffusion of oxygen from high concentration region in alveoli to low concentration region in blood capillaries takes place. In this way, oxygen reaches the main bloodstream. Now blood transfers this oxygen to the body cells. Now in the body cells, oxidation of food, that is glucose, takes place with the help of oxygen, and due to this oxidation, energy is released in the form of ATP molecules. Carbon dioxide is produced as byproduct. Now the concentration of carbon dioxide becomes high in the blood, in the body cells than the blood. So carbon dioxide is diffused from the body cells to the blood, and blood carries this carbon dioxide to the alveoli due to the difference in concentration of carbon dioxide. So in this way, due to the difference in concentration of carbon dioxide, the carbon dioxide reaches from the body cells to the alveoli through the bronchioles, bronchi, and finally through the nostrils. It is expelled to the atmosphere when we breathe out.